It's officially June 1st, everyone. The US Federal Reserve has a new boss. The Strait of Hormuz still closed. The US and China shook hands and resolved nothing. Meanwhile, UAE and India signed a full list of agreements. And somewhere in the middle of all of this, the markets hit new records. So, this is May 2026. It packed 12 months worth of news into just 31 days. This is where I step in. I prepared a cheat sheet for you so that you know what to carry into June 2026. So let's go. This is Jana and you're watching the Primexar podcast. As always, we start with the Strait of Hormuz, the main star of 2026. Here's what we know as of today. There is a tentative deal on the table between the US and Iran. When the news broke, oil prices dropped, the markets rallied, everyone got excited. And then JD Vance, the US Vice President, was asked, "Is the deal signed yet?" His answer, and I quote, "This is still to be determined." Yes, the US Vice President used TBD to describe an active war negotiation. The deal has been described as largely negotiated. So watch your phone because the minute the news break that the deal is signed, oil prices move. And when oil prices move, you know the rest. And as of now, the Strait of Hormuz is not fully opened, and Iran has been charging $2 million per ship to pass through. So yes, the Strait of Hormuz has turned into a $2 million toll road. Told ya, the star of the month. Here is what to watch in June. Whether the memorandum actually gets signed and what happens the minute it does. Because the minute the Strait of Hormuz opens properly, the oil prices drop and the inflation pressure eases. And that changes the FIT's calculations on interest rates. Speaking of the FITs, that brings us to the second chapter of today's episode. Jerome Powell officially handed over the Federal Reserve on May 15th, and Kevin Warsh is now in charge. He was voted 54 to 45 votes, the most divisive vote in the modern history of the Federal Reserve. And Jerome Powell? He is still sitting on the same table as a voting member until January 2028. So, what did Kevin do so far? Honestly, not much yet. And that's exactly the point. His first Fed meeting as chairman is scheduled on June 17th. Yes, 17 days from now. So, this is where we get a real signal of what a regime change actually looks like in practice. So, watch closely what happens on 17th of June. Watch the statement, the press conference, and look closely at the dollar and what happens to it in the next hours after the meeting. This will tell you more than what Warsh will ever say. And speaking of the US and China presidents met on 14th and 15th of May in Beijing. There was a lot of anticipation there. It was the first meeting in 8 years. And the result? Warm words, a handshake, both sides agreeing that the relations are stable. Now watch this word. Stable. Not resolved, not fixed. Just stable. Rare earth restrictions are still in place. Tariffs are reduced but not gone. So the fundamental competition between the two economies has not changed. The summit was more like a temperature check and not a solution. So, what to watch in June is whether China follows through on its commitment or whether it will tighten the licensing system on the rare earth restrictions quietly. This is not all that happened on May 15th. Here's what also happened. The Indian Prime Minister Modi visited Abu Dhabi and his plane was escorted into the UAE airspace by F-16 fighter jets, which is a diplomatic signal that speaks louder than any press release. Now, note this down. Here's the agreements that the two countries signed. Let's see. Strategic defense partnership, an energy agreement, and a deal on strategic petroleum reserves. Now, what does that mean in plain English? It means that the two countries are getting closer on defense, on energy, on trades. And for a region that is watching the Strait of Hormuz very closely, securing energy partners is not just a smart choice, it's a necessary choice. Now, this one did not get a lot of attention, so remember it. This one came almost very quietly that I almost missed it. The final chapter of today's episode. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, is stepping down on September 1st. Apple actually hit an all-time high in 16 out of 20 trading days in May. Wow, I'm not an Apple fan, but wow. Okay, the stock is up by 56% in the past year, and the man who built it into the world's most valuable company is leaving. Now, Apple CEO stepping down does not directly move your forex pairs, but it's a signal worth watching. Why? Because Apple is usually treated as a barometer for global consumer confidence and tech sector health. So, when Apple moves, the market notices it. So keep an eye on the successor and how the markets will react to that announcement. So everyone, this was the eventful mighty May 2026. Strait of Hormuz still undecided. The new Fed chairman did not show his cards yet. China summit stabilized but not resolved. UAE-India partnership deserves more attention. And finally, Apple is quietly preparing the biggest leadership transition in over a decade. June is certainly going to be exciting and we are all here for it. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to get markets update that really matters. This is Jana everyone, and you're watching the Primexar podcast. See you on the next one, and June, please be kind on us.